Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now that update is finally here. I actually ended up cutting my stream short because I wanted to check out Hawkeye and that slow perfect release system. It took a bit of getting used to, but before we get there, we as always will be comparing pre-buff damage to post-buff damage. Now here the number to kind of keep in mind here, I suppose, would be the 526. In reality, out of 526 we should subtract 63 because my SIG 20 Hawkeye's hammerage damage is only 63. Obviously, if Hawkeye would be higher SIG, that long bleed would be doing significantly more damage. But this is only a SIG 20 Hawkeye. However, that shows us that the level 1 bleed on Hawkeye pre-buff was 464. All in all, that's pretty much it. We already know for a fact that his power drain was more potent. However, after the buff he has suppression debuff, which also can be useful. It's different. I just don't really see still why they reduced the amount of power drain. But still, these are the numbers that we can see: 1600 mediums, 1070 light crits, and 463 bleed damage of a single bleed, and the total fight is quite long. I'm not gonna force all of you to sit through it, but I did, and it's quite evident that this entire fight does take quite a while. So this is a 6-star rank 1 with maxed out deep wounds, but no boosts, no kind of special masteries. I don't have any points in glass cannon and stuff like that. So that's my basic mastery setup, which I'm going to use for all the fights in this video. So pre-buff Hawkeye by himself ended up doing this fight in 402 hits. 402 hits was the pre-buff Winter Soldier fight length without synergies. That's solo. Now we need to check out Hawkeye with synergies. So I KO'd Black Widow Deadly Origins, and Black Widow Deadly Origins increases my bleed duration, therefore lets me do even more damage. And then we have Darkhawk, who makes the bleeds more potent, and then we have Hercules, who gives me Furies, and all that other good stuff. Now I must immediately tell you that with the full synergy team, he was actually doing surprisingly good damage because of those Fury buffs. And for most part, you had like 2 Furies active. We can see that the bleed has gone from 460 something to 700 immediately plus. And that was with 1 Fury. Now 2 Furies, the bleed's actually 999, so the bleed's very potent. Obviously, the uptime is not necessarily the highest, but you can already see way more significant damage. I was genuinely surprised by Hawkeye pre-buff with the full synergy team. Because, the numbers look better. Like mediums and light crits are basically double if you have 2 Furies active. And, the bleeds are over 1k. And for a 6-star rank 1, especially compared for an older character, it actually does really solid damage. So I did like that already. But obviously, Hawkeye is not the champion of the quality that you would dedicate your entire team to. Not to mention that you just can't do that most of the time. Even though, let's say, Hercules, Darkhawk, and Black Widow Deadly Origins, so on, are not exactly the worst champions, but still, you're never going to build up a team around Hawkeye pre-buff. However, the damage improvement is quite significant. So previously we had 402 hits, and now we're going to be getting that down to 100 and... let's just finish it up. 100 and... come on, last few percent. There we go. So we got it down to 191. So with synergies, he had double the damage output. More so even. So that is going to be for Joe Fixit. And now we have Hawkeye post-buff. Now, fair disclaimer, it took a bit of practice with that perfect release, and I'm still not perfect. I still occasionally mess it up. I'm actually not remembering whether this is going to be the fight where I messed up. 1 second. Yeah, this is going to be the fight where I messed it up. I think I recorded 2 fights pre-synergies. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at this one because I don't think I messed up in this one. So here we are. This is post-buff Hawkeye. And it took definitely, solid few minutes to kind of like get used to the timing. And as kind of like a good tip, typically during the special attacks, my eyes are on the opponent. And the best way, by far the best way, how to kind of make sure that your perfect release is going to be working fine is paying attention to actual Hawkeye. Just shift your focus completely away from the opponent and pay attention to Hawkeye. And then I have much higher success rate from there on out using Hawkeye and getting the perfect release. So we can see that in his base damage, you know, it's not significantly different. It really isn't. I mean, okay, it is higher. It is higher, but it's not that higher until you get to level 2 with the fragility debuffs. If you have perfect release, you inflict 2 fragility debuffs on the opponent, and you immediately do quite significant damage. Like you have 6k mediums there, straight after the first level 2. Okay, now we have like 5500 mediums. Still, not bad. The bleeds are not as potent. However, they last significantly longer. Therefore, I do think that the overall damage from the bleeds is, again, significantly higher, especially if you are managing to play aggressive, because as you are striking the opponent, you are pausing those bleeds and you're pausing the fragility debuffs. And the total sum of damage improvement is huge. Total sum of damage improvement here is huge. So I'm going for my 4th perfect release here. Not too bad again. And remember, this is not going to be perfect Hawkeye fight. I have been just, you know, messing with the character for like half an hour, if that. But at this point, I really like him. We can see that 118 hits in. Winter Soldier is already at like 30% or 32% at that point he was. And previously this fight took like 400 hits. Yes, okay, the bleed damage isn't like too crazy, but it lasts and doubles and triples, and now I have my 5th perfect release, so, you know, the bleeds last even longer, the fragility debuffs last longer. Those 11k medium, 7k light crits. That's no boosts, no synergies, 6-star rank 1. That's really good. That's really good. And the fight's 152. So we can extrapolate that he has nearly tripled the damage, like 2.5 times more damage, something like that. Because previously 402 hits. So if you double this up, it would be 304 hits, and then you would still like, yeah. So let's say 2.66. Let's round it up. If I played it perfect, if I didn't mess up that first perfect release, I think you can say it's triple the damage. I'm quite sure that you can get this hit counter, you know, down a bit more, versus I'm not too sure that you could have gotten the previous hit counter more. So I'm going to say triple the amount of damage, which is crazy good, which definitely is more than I thought it would be, and which actually makes me quite excited. Let's check him out with synergies, and this actually kind of surprised me. So I'm using pretty much the same synergy setup there, but in this case, or very similar synergy setup anyways. I swapped Taskmaster in for whoever. But in this case, the improvement isn't going to be quite as huge, because you see that Hercules synergy that previously granted us that massive damage increase by having like double Furies up for most of the fight. Well, if you want to go to level 2, which is something that you do want to do in order to access the fragility debuffs, you're not going to be able to power drain the opponent, so you're not going to be able to benefit from those Fury buffs too much if you want to go for like your inbuilt high damage source. Now, potentially, if I kept spamming level 1s, that would have been an option, and it's something that I will probably try and test out a bit later. But overall, obviously the damage still increases because the bleeds have become more potent, they last longer thanks to the synergies, and, you know, still had those Furies at the beginning of the fight, but it just doesn't add up like it did before here. It just doesn't add up. If you want to go for level 2s, you're not going to get the Furies, or if you don't go for level 2s, you're not going to be, you know, hitting as hard, or then maybe it kind of gets cancelled out with Furies, but I don't know. We definitely do need to test out a few more rotations. I actually haven't seen the damage from level 3 at all. I haven't used the single level 3 in this video. But all in all, there wasn't that huge of an improvement in this fight. You know, Before it was 152 hits, and now it's like 121. So, you know, it's faster, but it wasn't that huge of a difference, which is actually very good because, you know, it's always better when a champion is not synergy reliant, and I definitely do like that a lot more. And for a 6-star rank 1 to be putting out this kind of damage, kind of like as casually, and I do understand that this is like Realm of Legends, and obviously it's not going to be possible to always be as aggressive and stuff like that. But I do like him now. I do like him a lot more. Definitely. And there is a very decent chance that he's going to go minimum to a rank 2, possibly, probably to a rank 3. There's 20k level 1 as well, by the way. You know, that kind of numbers would not exist before on the regular, on the pre-buff Hawkeye. So I quite like this view. I think it's quite solid. And that is going to be about the end of this video. Overall, the Hawkeye buff turned out better than I thought it would be. Obviously, ultimately, the champion's worth still remains to be determined. This video is meant to be the damage showcase. And the damage in his base kit is 3 times if you manage to do perfect release as well, which is something that, you know, you need to get used to. And I'm sure people will. So, all in all, definitely a very significant improvement. And he still has the slow on heavy attack. And he has some cool synergies, like with Herc, for instance. Quite important for Hercules. So, yeah, I think I'm taking him up at the very least to rank 2 to tinker with him some more. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the